All right, we are live for Fireside Chat number 62, I believe. We skipped a week, so I'm a little off in my count here, but I think that's right. Anyway, the big news is the Hjor thing is on, so or rather, it's been announced it will start midnight June 1st. So that's like meaning midnight the night this Friday night at midnight when the clock ticks over to June 1st. It will be the start of the Hero thing, and it'll be our 18th anniversary, which will be pretty cool. So there might be some announcements coming out that day for all that stuff. But the Hero thing's the big announcement right now, and I'm gonna post
R-
up the.
Real quick,
Mhm.
do we know what time zone that your thing kicks off?
Yeah, midnight PST.
Pacific. Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll make another announcement where I'll post the rules, and the rules say that, but I'll post in the announcement as well. And yeah, we're just finishing up finalizing that, and then I'll post that. I made the Hjorthing channel, so I'll put up the scoreboard there and put the rules up in the challenges channel. And yeah, one thing that will be a bit different if you participated in the last the Yarnrith or the last Hjorthing or Yarnrith last year is we've got a spreadsheet now that Manigo they put together where everyone can enter their challenges, which I think should make it a lot easier to keep track of everything. And yeah, so that'll be cool. We've also got House Warden now participating, which will be kind of fun. And there's currently two members of House Thief. So maybe, I mean, I'm going to put House Thief on the scoreboard. Why not? So we actually will have um, the possibility of six houses participating, which is kind of fun.
Bring the pain on House Thief.
But yeah, so
Kick them while
that's
they're down.
that's one of the biggest things we've got coming up. Other than that, I think, yeah, went over the anniversary. I mean, those are kind of the two big things. Like I said, I mean, the rest of the news about the Hjor thing will be out today, very soon. We'll have everything set up, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll get some activity for that. I know, I think the Yarnrith went pretty well, but I feel like people always care more about their houses, or at least thus far. House wars and anything like that are always something that get people pretty excited. So I'm definitely excited for it to start. So we've got that coming up. And yeah, there'll be some announcements as far as stuff we've got planned for the anniversary. Probably open up story time and talk about some of that stuff. The Hero thing is kind of the big event, and like I said, I might have a couple of announcements to make as well as part of the celebration. So that's probably going to be mostly it. I don't know. I think the Hero thing is kind of the big celebration for the anniversary. But yeah, I think that is about all I can think of to go over. There was a handbook update I think that came out a while back, mostly just updating stuff like House Warden and some families moving some stuff around like that. Nothing too crazy. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think I'll mention briefly. I know Scotty is trying to get a Rainbow Six Siege team together. He had messaged me about that. I think he posted in job boards. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to hit him up or any of the Rainbow Six guys. Um, yeah, so that should be exciting. I definitely gave him the all clear on that to go ahead and give it a shot. So hopefully there's some success there. One thing, the last thing is something that Ducky had actually wanted me to bring up, which was how many channels we have on the server, which is kind of something I've thought about on and off for quite a while, and that we do have a lot of channels. And I don't know, I thought and I'll just throw it out, anybody has any thoughts on that, but it does feel like we have a lot of channels. I mean, maybe we need them all, maybe we need most of them, maybe there's some we can combine or something like that, but I did want to bring that up because he had asked me to bring that up in his stead. So anybody have any thoughts
We
on
should delete the Weebs channel.
it?
Jokes
Fucking
aside,
nuke that shit.
jokes aside,
If we're gonna delete weebs, let's just delete Colgas.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
what I'm thinking is, because it's been a while since I've been, a warrior. I'm not quite sure how it looks like to a regular member that's not an officer.
Right.
Because there's a lot of channels that officers need that no one else. So I don't think those are in the way.
It's pretty overkill.
What we need to remove is some of the more public stuff, things that everyone gets to see. No, I'm not talking about guests, just Scout and if we're gonna remove anything, it's gonna be some of those channels.
Are all of them?
I don't think we need every lang skip, to be honest.
Okay, so right now I'm just making some notes here. So I think the landscapes is long shift for any of those who don't know. Removing some of those definitely a possibility. I think there were some guys that requested those, and I think they probably have not seen any use in many months. So that's probably a good candidate to just clear up a little space. Were you guys were saying the voice channels at the top, maybe removing one or two of those or something like that?
I think we only need one. I think we only need one PTT channel.
I think
I don't think we need any, to be honest.
That's an opinion.
I mean, the link skips are way down at the bottom. I don't think they really matter that much.
I think that you should have one, and then maybe allow people to edit how many people can be in it. So then we can just change it so that the one can just be one for all. I guess one size.
Then the problem that you run into is, let's say that you have, a group of five, like a full 5-man in there, and someone else wants to just join in and talk, then they can always just go ahead and edit the channel to include 6, and then they can join in and talk. Whereas perhaps that
Then
5-man
you just
doesn't
kick that
want them to,
asshole
so that
out.
they can, just do like a 5-stack in like League or some shit.
Just kick that asshole out. Like the point of those is to be down there. Like nobody goes down there anyway for now. I think that if it's a number and it's where they want it, then it shouldn't be messed with. It's a gentleman's rule, but
Yeah, that's definitely an option. I mean, I think at the very least we can get rid of some of them. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think that we really do need at least one of those channels? Because I think one thing I've found is that I feel like none of them are even used really. I don't know. Has anybody actually been using them, or thought about using them?
I mean, I've had private talks down there.
I've used them a few times in the past for like League of Legends duos and shit like that.
Okay. Well, the one thing maybe we can get rid of 2 of the 5s and a 10 at least. That's something, or even we just have a 2 and a 5 or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
And I mean, yeah, I can make it so people can edit the channel, like
or at
just
least
like
make it so like an officer could do it or something. Like hey, can you make it this or something?
Like,
I don't mind
I
doing
would
that
do
for
it for like Berserker and up, just because there's always going to be a Berserker higher available.
Yeah, I can
pretty
do
much.
that. I can just do that. Do you think I should do that for all of the, like, maybe let's say we have 2 or 3? Should I make it all of them like editable by Berserker Plus, or just one of them?
I'd do all of them.
I honestly, if we're gonna keep, I would just keep 2. I mean,
and make both editable by Berserker
yeah.
Plus. Okay.
I don't think we need more than 2. What is whole manga for again?
Okay.
Or
cool.
home ganga. What is that?
Oh, it's like Old Norse for like a one-on-one combat, basically. I kind of made it for for like one-on-one meetings, or I guess if people for something like the your thing or something. If you're doing a 1 versus 1, you don't want random people jumping in. You can use it for something like that. That would really fit the name, actually.
Okay. It just sounds like a lang skip for me too. It's just a different kind, I guess.
Yeah. So
I think we're focusing too much towards the bottom of the list. Most people are probably seeing the top of the server, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can appreciate us removing some of the stuff down there, but I'm thinking maybe like it was mentioned earlier, maybe removing one of the push to talk channels.
I'd be in support of that. I'd also actually kind of be in support of merging announcements and calendar, just because the calendar channel, it's posted in once a month, so it's honestly kind of redundant, particularly with the announcements.
Although some months there can be a lot of announcements, and that calendar would get moved around. I suppose they could pin the calendar and it wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, it's not. You can just repin the calendar each month. That's problem solved right there. Just delete the old pin and then pin the new one.
Well,
Well,
you could just leave the pins.
the one problem with pinning, I think normally that would be a good idea. It's something I've done in the past, but I think that I've found that pinning messages doesn't actually do very much because people don't usually look at pin messages at all. And I feel like if we do combine calendar and announcements and pin the calendar, a bunch of people are going to be messaging me and other officers asking where the calendar is, and like nobody's going to be able to find it. From
I think
past
it's time
experience.
for people to learn how to use Discord.
Because I have been pinning stuff a lot since we made the server, like trying to pin important stuff, and I think generally speaking, it does fly under the radar a lot.
I noticed that yesterday.
I need the calendar channel. It's where I sit so that I can see if all the other ones pop up. I literally leave my thing sitting in the calendar channel just so because it's the one that doesn't see activity. So if something comes up further down, I read a message.
It's definitely I mean, I'm not saying like we can't merge announcements in the calendar. It's definitely an option. The one thing I think is that there's actually, especially if we remove a couple voice channels, if we look at categories, Seeker actually doesn't have that many channels. It's a bit hard for me to know because I can see every channel. So
Yeah.
some of the people saying that our server is kind of loaded, if you could see it from my perspective, you would probably go insane.
I can't even see all your channels, and I think
From
I'm
my
like,
perspective,
I don't know.
From my perspective, I don't think I would need to see the voice channels for the WAS RAM. Because I'm in Pans of his year, and I can see the voice channels for RAM, and I don't ever see them used personally. But
there's another solution, and that's the stupid arrows. You can collapse things.
Yeah,
I was literally about to mention, it is always possible to collapse channel categories. Like if you don't use, I don't know what it's called, the category that like the individual game channels and like the length skip channels and whole gang are in. But I mean, I usually have that one collapsed unless I get like pinged. So that is always an option that's available.
I could create more of those actually if you guys want.
That may be wise.
Like one thing I thought is making one just for house stuff. So then I take and I mean I know most of you guys probably only see 2 or 3 house channels, but we have all the under Vigilant. We have Mead Hall. We have right now with the Cure thing, that's temporary. But we have the theme channel, introductions, LOAs, recruits, job board, lesson plans. Some of this maybe you guys can't see. Then we have all the house channels, the councils, the house channels themselves. Commander has a lore channel. And then there's the 5 guild channels as well. So there's a ton of channels under Vigilant. I feel like that would be a good candidate to maybe split that into 2 categories.
Okay.
I think that would be a good idea.
Or sorry, I wonder what happens if there's a category where you can't see any of the channels, like for like a scout or something. If it's like all the channels in the category they can't see, does the category show up for them?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, if you can't see any channels in the category, I think you don't see the.
Well, actually, okay, so it's
category.
weird the way that it works. If you can't see any of the channels within the category, then the category will still show up for you, but the channels within said category will not. So it'll just be a blank category for you. But if your perms are denied for the category entirely, you could still perhaps have perms in the channels, but you won't be able to actually, see any of the channels because you can't see the category in the first place.
Yeah. Well, as far as splitting the Vigilant, I think, like I said, I could make a category that's just house stuff, and then leave, like, say, the guilds, and then those introductions, LOAs, meat hall stuff. I could do that, and then that would, I don't know. I mean, it might look like I want to make sure I'm not doing this just for like my own convenience, because like
I think we're getting away from the original topic here. We can reorganize whenever we want, however we want. Um, the fact of the matter is, we still have a lot of channels, and it's very daunting for new members.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess what we really need to look at is what channels can we remove, right? I mean, that's what's going
What
to make
if
the
we
biggest
just
difference.
made it so that scouts can only see certain channels until they're a warrior or something? Then we don't really have to delete any.
We could. The question is which channels to hide from them, I
Yeah, because
suppose.
they don't have to be able to see like announcements calendar, but
What we can do is we can organize in such a way, like we can put the announcements, the calendars, the rules, um, Bifrost, maybe a couple of, I mean, all of the voice channels. I guess we do have a lot of voice channels up there. The mead hall. You could put all those into one, at the very top. I guess I don't know if that would help. And then hide the rest. I don't know. Like if they ask for access to it, then we give it to them. I don't.
one of the only ones I can think of that could maybe be hidden from scouts would be like maybe the leave of absence board.
No, they might
Well,
need
they
that.
need that.
Well,
They're
I'm not,
the
I
most
honestly don't
likely
know
to
many
use
scouts
it.
that go on leave of absence.
They're the most likely to use it.
Yeah, I don't like that plan. Sorry.
um,
This is really the tricky thing, because I've been looking at it for a few days since I talked to Ducky about it, and I've kind of been racking my brain, and it's quite hard to find channels we don't technically need. Like we kind of need them all.
this may be I don't know how unpopular this opinion might be. I know that Sutung's library is used quite often by the composers, but I think all of the voice channels under Aegir and Ran are not really needed.
I mean, I don't use any of those voice channels down there.
Neither do I.
I think that's. I mean, the one thing I would say at the very least is if we look at how many total voice channels we have on the server, we have what, like 30 or something. I mean, we probably only need a third of those at most. So we should be able to trim voice channels somewhere. And I would agree. I think that the Warband ones is probably a good place to start.
Did someone just threaten my library?
No. I'm saying, you know what? You guys actually use the library. Leave the library.
I use the library
I'm just
all the
kidding.
time.
Everything else we could probably get rid of.
I think
Would-
all the war bands and maybe the GC chats, not chats, but like voice channels.
The voice channels, yeah, get rid of all of those and maybe just leave the library for Solite and friends.
Yeah, we could make it
we
on
will
like
riot without our library.
we could make it just sort of a by activity, by request thing. If a warband needs a voice channel, or then we say, okay, sure, we can make it for you. But most of them, aren't using them at all. So yeah, I think it's reasonable to do on a case by case basis.
Like maybe
Well,
I
remove
think I
also
used
the
Holofrig
Langskip.
one time the entire time I was on Scrum.
There's also the leg skip channels that can be, they're modular now. So
Yeah, that is well.
A lot of the voice stuff we could trim. I think is what we're getting at here.
What
all
if
the top channels don't really need to move. Maybe remove one of the push to talk, and then everything else we just discussed. Remove all of that.
Would you guys be mad if I moved the library up to, so if we have all the voice channels under Bifrost, but I still keep it like, like say WA restricted or just Kvasirs or whatever, but just so we have them all at the top of the server?
That would make sense.
no, I think that we should keep the ones that like guests can see separate from the other ones, because then I don't know, if someone decides they want to collapse the category, they can collapse it.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons, I mean, I might be speaking for you, Sully, and the Cavasters people, but one of the reasons why they use the tongue so much is because it's not so visible to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if me personally, I think like a happy medium would to leave like 2 voice channels down farther below, and then the rest and Bifrost eliminating the rest.
I think the lane skips can stay down there. I like where the lane skips are.
And maybe we don't need that many. I know I came in a little bit late, but maybe we don't need that many lane skips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna remove all but I think 2 of
Okay.
those.
How about we just leave the library exactly where it is? We don't have to move it. Just
Yeah,
This has my vote.
to be honest, I mean, yeah, I think looking again, because if you look at the WAS year and RAN categories, there's actually not that many channels in there. So it's like,
but it's a good trim.
yeah, so I mean, if leaving a couple voice channels in there is not really a big deal.
I think we can delete probably half of the halls also.
Like maybe since that would be kind of like A Gear's fancy named like a voice channel, maybe Rand can come up with her own fancy named voice channel and we can keep one.
Fuck that, we don't need it.
As a representative of Kusi, both me and Bjorn agree. Fuck that.
Well, Khan had asked me to keep Hall of Hell as well. I know that one sees a fair bit of use too. So I guess I'll probably, well, I suppose I can just remove the rest, and if anybody does, want a voice channel back that I deleted or something, you can just let me know. I can recreate it very easily.
I think the Thanes and up can create channels, so if we really need one, we can create one and then delete it, I guess.
That too, yeah.
Speaking of channels, I'm going to backtrack in the exact opposite direction. How much money do I need to donate in order to get a temple channel?
Don't you have a warden channel already?
Just send me $20 and I'll get you it.
It's not a voice channel. That's the problem.
Manny, send me $60 and I'll get you covered.
I'll do it for
He
20.
can't do any proper crusading without voice. Not enough Deus Volt.
Like let me put it to you this way, Vest. Can I get a channel where I can just broadcast like 24/7, nothing but like Gregorian chants?
Send me
support
$60
this.
and I'll set it up.
I support this.
What do you guys think of Cypher? As far as
I think it's one of the worst Segas.
what do you guys think of the category WAS Cypher?
Oh, sorry, I was gonna agree. It's one of the worst sagas. Like as a former House Dane guy, I gotta say, one of the worst sagas.
What do you see as a regular member? Sit reps, Obsidian
Sit reps,
Hall.
Obsidian Hall, the Athenaeum, the Archives,
Sit
Mark's
reps,
Gallery,
Obsidian Hall,
Shrine of Uko.
Anatheum, Archives, Mark's Gallery, Shrine of Uko.
Okay.
Suppose
That's
it's
what
not
all
that bad
people
for
think.
regular members.
It's really not that bad. I think Cypher can stay because it's a lot more.
Cypher is
officer
perfectly
stuff.
fine in my opinion.
I see about 3 times as many channels there, but I think it
Yeah,
looks okay.
it's for officers, Bjorn. Come on. Doesn't really affect the regular member.
Well, I think we've kind of gone over the whole server. I mean, I think if you look at all the individual categories, it's not that bad, especially if we make the changes we already kind of went over. Probably in a decent spot. I mean, I think to some degree, like, we just need a lot of channels. I mean, we got a lot of people, we do a lot of stuff. We're a pretty complicated clan, I think, compared to a lot of other, gaming groups.
Hey, here's an
So,
idea. What if you made like Hall of Hell and the library like specific to like a house or whoever uses it the most?
Well, I think like personally one of the reasons why I like those lower channels is because not to be like exclusionary or anything, but some random person from Bifrost or like some random guest can't just join it if that's what you're not in the mood for. You know what I'm So I
Could we
prefer
possibly go ahead with the changes we discussed, and then maybe next Fireside see if anyone has any strong opinions against what happened? Give it a shot.
yeah, I mean, my plan is to make, the trims that we came up with, just to go ahead and do that. Because I mean, we're not deleting any text channels, so we're not losing history or anything like that. That's something if we are to delete a text channel, I just hide it under AFK where only I can see it, just for any not aware, so we don't actually lose any logs or anything like that.
Ooh, Vest. I'm pretty sure there is a way to like export like the chat history of a channel so that you can like delete it and just like keep the file somewhere.
Uh, yeah,
Like for cleaning up the AFK stuff.
yeah, I'd be
I'm
down
like
for it. Although
99% sure that there's a way to do that.
I'd be down to do that. Although honestly, like, I mean, cleaning up AFK just for like my sake, it's like the channel is all or the server is already just like full of channels from my perspective anyway. So I don't
Meme,
even
though.
care anymore.
I think it should stay. It's a good meme.
The AFK, the secret treasure trove of old channels, like the Children of Ricky channel.
Wait, you can punish people by giving them full visibility for a second.
Give me, I want to see.
I
Well,
look at it more of like a graveyard than something.
in mostly, there's some channels hidden in there that I bring out though, like Huskarl Moot I brought out a couple times. Storytime channel we bring out sometimes. There's a New Year's channel and a Secret Odin channel, which we're planning on doing every year, so we'll bring those out.
Is Gricker God in there?
Well, I don't think we had a channel for
Had its
that.
own channel.
The Halloween channel did. It was just the Halloween, I think. It was how we kept track of the entries.
The archives are incomplete.
It should be here, but it isn't.
Oh well, it doesn't really matter.
I don't see it. We actually had a channel for it. I don't even remember that.
You remember every time someone
It's like
answered
completely
one of
deleted it from the archives.
every time someone answered one of the riddles, you guys would post in there so that I could keep track of all the entries for the contest. You don't remember that?
No.
I specifically requested, and we used quite a bit that channel.
I guess
We must have
that's an
deleted it.
answer.
Doesn't matter. I kept track of everything, and it's posted on the forum, so it's all good.
Well, good. All right. Well, cool. I feel like we at least somewhat have addressed the server bloat conundrum. Got some ideas there. So I think we can move on. If anybody has anything else they want to bring up, or any questions, comments, or anything like that.
So on the other side, one of the issues with the server build is that people suggest and want new channels all the time, because I was requested from a couple people that were like, oh, we should have a channel to post our social media if we wanted to, like, I don't know, be on each other's social media. And I actually had a couple requests to bring that up. So there's that, but that kind of backtracks on the issue there.
Well, I mean, I'm a believer that like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So I mean, if there's like two people asking for it, like tough titty, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely. I have had a lot of people message me to create certain channels, and it's. Yeah, I think we have had to fend it off a little bit. I mean, I think I vaguely remember what it was like, because, well, first of all, a lot of members can't see how ridiculous the number of channels has actually gotten. And second of all, I think it's always cool when you get an idea and you want to see it like implemented in WA. So usually I try to, give people that opportunity. Like somebody wants to lead a warband or start something on a new game, start a team, or do some art for something or whatever. I'm always trying to go like, yeah, go for it. But yeah, I think we do have to draw a line somewhere, or something like channels, unless it's something we desperately need. Well, anybody have anything else they did want to go over?
I do, if no one else wants. All right.
Can we ban Pedo?
No.
I support this.
I support this as well.
No. Potatoes.
Banning your
Pedo,
actual
you can
best
be
member.
unbanned when you move
Okay.
to a better nation,
Um,
like the United States of America.
I'm sorry. If I wasn't here, Firesides would last 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
And who says that's a bad thing?
Can we ban
taking a
Pedo
lot
from
of credit.
talking?
I like French
How
bread
about
too
that?
much. I'd feel like I was betraying myself.
The thing is, he's like, okay, listen, Vest, like the French bread you're talking about is like the good, like high quality bakery kind. Peto's the Walmart brand.
All right, Pedo.
Ouch.
Pedo, here's the deal. If you send me some maple syrup, I'll rescind the band.
I've already told everyone that asks me for maple. It's expensive to ship the stuff. It's heavy.
Is it worth your
Aunt
life?
Jemima's is better.
Solite, you make a very
you're
poor
gonna get shot
Canadian.
for saying that.
I am an American that went to Canada and tried their syrup and brought it home, and I'll still have Aunt Jemima's any day of the week. It's just
This
better.
man gets it.
Can I ban Skull now?
It's just syrup again.
It's
Alright,
thicker.
But it's syrup
it,
made
it
from
stays with your
trees.
food. The Canadian one's just watery.
Yeah, lovely,
Because it's
delicious
like real
tree
syrup.
juice.
Alright, what did you
Or
want to bring up,
watery.
Pat?
I love
American
tree juice.
syrup.
Yeah, we're getting
I
a
love
little
putting it
off
over
topic,
my
guys.
circular my circular bread wads.
This is after Fireside topics, not current Fireside
All right,
topics.
all right.
Listen,
So let's just
circular
end the fireside real quick.
Well, Pato,
So we can
what
talk
were you gonna say?
Come on, guys. I did want to bring up like 2 or 3 things about less functioning and more lore stuff, Vest. I think this was discussed before. Mainly Solite had more details on it. The whole induction into WA lore-wise, how that was done and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Wasn't it just being birthed?
No.
No.
No,
Well,
the way
originally,
that
yes, that was the implication.
When did we lose that?
it's like
When
you
we
undergo
realized
like
it
a
was
full body like cellular division. You just split into 2 individual.
Okay, guys. Vest, is there any way to make that canonical? Can you write something about that, like an entry?
I think it talks about that in the Scribe's Guide to Isera, does it not?
Does it, I'm not quite sure.
I believe I talked about it in there. I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
Alright.
I mean, I used to be. Well, I mean, it was really Solite that came up with like the way it currently is canonically, and I did hold on to the idea for a long time of like, oh, he's this person's son, you know, and I think that what I want to do is like in WA like lore, like people still refer to their recruits as their children, but it's sort of like the same way you might refer to like a friend as like your brother or something like that. It's sort of just like a way of referring to them, but it's not literally their children because it's weird because it's like, do we all have like wives or something that are just not mentioned anywhere or something? Like it's kind of odd, you know.
Wait, so
We could just be
for the
asexual.
uninformed, can somebody tell me, is StarCraft still my mother?
It's just I really liked Solite's idea, and I think that should be canonical. And if it is already, never mind what I said. It's just I really like it.
It
It's a
is,
lot
yeah.
more
I
fitting to what we do.
yeah, there's a
I-
little paragraph in the Scribe's Guide discussing it.
I'd say in some circumstances there would be someone who is like the actual kid of a member.
That can happen.
know,
I
There's no reason
Yeah.
it wouldn't happen if like within universe, but most of the time there's no biological connection.
I mean, you're sure we're just not assigning a bunch of WA members random concubines out of nowhere?
You know what? They might do that in House Warden. I'm not sure.
Nope.
No,
Before
no.
the
We're
mother
too
was the game.
virtuous for that. We
It
are
was
I mean,
way
they
too
do go on
virtuous.
crusades, so
You guys don't understand. The video game was the brood mother that spawned a bunch of people.
Okay, Scholars, you
Thank
can run with
StarCraft
that.
Brood War for birthing me.
That's epic. That's really epic.
Best, do you not? I'm not kidding. That was the thing.
This sounds
I
familiar.
did not know that was actually the way it was
All
considered.
right, I'll give up on it.
But wait,
Bring it back.
if every single person recruited on StarCraft,
Yeah.
what does that imply?
StarCraft was a brood mother.
I could actually start calling Patty Daddy my actual daddy.
Yeah, that's the whole point
Can
of all
we
this,
kill
right?
that name already?
Pato,
No.
did you have anything else? Was that your one?
yeah.
Okay.
No, I have a. Oh. The other thing. Oh right. Just going back to the DM question I had for you yesterday. Do you think you could write a guide for the Assyrian dates?
Yeah,
The
I tried to
times?
put a little bit in the Scribe's Guide, but I don't know if you've read that. If I could see it not being
I guess not.
detailed enough.
It's because I think you should have all the months named, all of and a couple of examples of this date equals this date, and this is the math to go along with. Just so I can refer to it, and maybe anyone else who's curious, because I don't want to keep asking. I mean, I don't. I'm sure you don't mind, but I don't want to keep asking you every single time I want to have an accurate Aetherin date for lore.
That's fair. I don't mind writing another one, but what you just mentioned is basically exactly what I have in the paragraph in the scribe's guide.
My
is
bad then.
With a
You
couple
know, it'd be
examples.
super awesome if we had a little program that converted dates. Wouldn't it be great if we had a group dedicated to programming? I would
Oof.
love that.
One day. I mean, and what I told Pato is basically I use that to determine roughly the year, approximately something might happen, and then with the actual specific months and days, I kind of just fudge it a bit and just because I feel like when you're writing a story, a factor is like, oh, is it like winter or something or summer or whatnot? And I think having a little bit of flexibility there lets you kind of set it when you would want to set it.
Wait, important lore question. Are there leap years?
I would
Oh,
say
geez.
no.
Oh.
Do we
So we can't
practice
have
daylight
like a
savings time?
50-year-old, 5-year-old?
Well, there goes all of my immersion. Thanks, Matt.
Do we have daylight savings time?
No.
Better. This isn't Arizona. That's where Offner lives.
That
Wait,
was
Vest,
the
did you
real
say yes
reason
or
for the
no?
Saga of the Stone
Yeah.
Stars. It was the war over daylight savings time.
Hawaii doesn't have it either, by the way.
We don't talk about Hawaii.
Yeah, but Hawaii sucks.
I love Hawaii.
All
Is
right.
Wait, so
everything
Vest,
else
the answer
better?
is yes. The answer is yes.
I
We
don't-
have daylight savings.
Sorry, Vest. I didn't think it was already something that we had. I probably just missed what you've written.
No, that's okay. I mean, it might not be enough. I mean, I can write more about it.
I can't believe you don't have every single word Vest has ever written memorized.
So like, there's a lot to go through.
Yeah, I mean,
I
for some
can't believe
consolation
it.
for people, I wrote the handbook and I've revised the handbook and written new drafts at least 20 or 30 times, and I don't remember every word in the handbook at all. So.
All right, that's one last thing I wanted to bring up, Vest. For codex entry, I know that we have a section dedicated to mediums that we've used before, like Discord, TeamSpeak, the forums, blah blah blah. Right? We have codex entries for that. I think.
For like the TeamSpeak and stuff.
Just explaining what they were and when they were used, because I know there's a Discord codex like about our Discord. Let me find it. Hold on.
Yeah, I think I did make one for like the forums and the Discord server. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I just made a note.
Tools.
Yeah.
It's under tools. Going off of that, this might be pushing it. I don't know, but do you think we could have codex entries for some important channels? Just for
Yeah.
the future, if we ever lose them or decide that we get rid of them with an era change or something like that, just so that future members might know what the Ganunga Gap or the Niflheim was.
God forbid we forget Gricker God.
That's
I think that's a really
so
good
light.
idea.
That's
Yeah.
not what I was going for, but it's just, for future reference. If ever we go through a major change and we get rid of the naming conventions for all these channels, we might keep the spirit of those channels alive. But I'm just saying that having entries for those might be a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I made a note to do it.
I actually had an idea about something like that. Do we have like lore codex entries at all, or something similar to like? Are there any lore codex entries? Because I was wondering, because I know me personally, I always have to ask like 25 times, like, what is this region like? What is this region like when I'm trying to do lore stuff? Because I'd really like if there were a solid description somewhere of the regions and like what the land of Azir is like.
I volunteer to help with writing this.
Because I'm sure I have asked like about 25 questions about the Rama Forest. But there's not like a place for me to just be like, go read. At least that I know of.
I just assume it's because Vest hasn't gotten to that yet, because there's a lot of detail to go through.
That's another good point. I just made a note to do that. But yeah, I think I'll probably create a new codex category for that. Something like just lore, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, I can definitely create entries and stuff. I
It
mean,
would be cool to know about some like specific regions of because right now all we have to go off of is the map and your mind.
true, yeah.
Best, why don't you have it all on paper yet?
I honestly, there's probably more information on the Star Edda world, technically. I mean, this describes Sky Dicer, but it doesn't actually really describe like the regions or landscapes. So, yeah, that's definitely something I can do.
If that's something you want help with, like if you have like a base idea and you just like want somebody to expand on that, that's like something we can do as being the scribe skilled. Like,
yeah, we can help in the
and be like,
scribe.
yeah, this is kind of my idea of what this place looks like, and then we can kind of like expand on it and make it more creative and descriptive and figure out what's actually there. And that's
Definitely, yeah, that'd be a huge help.
Just saying, I'm down to volunteer and provide aid in describing this land.
Manny, you can join the Scribes Guild. You know that, right?
Yeah, well, you know what, dude? You're stupid.
That's all from me, Vest.
Cool. Well, does anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we sign off here?
Socialized healthcare side.
Doesn't Pato have a lesson?
Our
Not this
BNK
time.
reactors don't explode.
All right. Well, sounds like we've only got memes, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign us off. Twitch. Thanks to anyone watching live or watching the VOD or watching on YouTube. Thanks everyone for showing up as well. We will be back next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific when the Cure thing will be underway. That starts this Friday at midnight PST. By the way, we'll be making an announcement for it as well. So hope everyone participates, fights for their house, and we'll see everyone next week.